Good evening and welcome to Think About It Using Common Sense. We're back for another day. There's a lot's been going on. Tomorrow, I think it's the election in Georgia determine whether or not it's Herschel Walker or Reverend Warnock in the runoff. To me, just the fact that you're having someone uh, as intelligent as Herschel Walker having such a turnout, and that he had to have a runoff to determine who won. It's a reflection to me on the voters of Georgia, because based on what I'm seeing and hearing of Herschel Walker, he doesn't even seems like to me he doesn't even qualify to even run in an election. But that's neither here nor there. That's not my call. But it just shows to me uh, what's being done to our legal process, our justice system, our uh, election process. To me, it's being made a joke. So it's been made, they're making a mockery out of what's supposed to be uh, our rules of laws in this country. Um, I heard also that Trump wants to get rid of the Constitution. Um, the Constitution, it was written back in the 1800s, I think. I'm not sure now. Don't quote me on this. Um, but when it was written using common sense, it wasn't written for black people, people of color. But as it as we moved forward, and America being America and saying what they stand for, then they was they more or less had to bring people of color under the umbrella of the Constitution. Even to this day, there's some people, even with I think racism, tells you that they don't want people of color under the Constitution, and Donald Trump saying it needs to be gotten rid of. But based on the election that we had on November 8th, the American people are changing. There's a lot of people who didn't understand, didn't even think that racism existed in this country. But as we have seen, it does. And the only way that we're going to get rid of racism, if it's possible, we're going to have to acknowledge the truth, and we're going to have to change. And uh, that's the reality of it. In order for these things to change, we the people are going to have to change it, and we're going to have to cut out the bullshit, the BS. We talk about what's happening today. We talk about the killings. We talk about the multiple shootings in schools. We talk about the crime. We talk about the voting rights. We talk about how our elected officials, refuse to uh, acknowledge our voting process. Even has to go so far as to even uh, disavow that Joe Biden is our elected president. All these things are nonsense. It's nonsense because this is the same law, and I repeated it, and I'm just really tired of saying it, but hopefully, maybe this is the last time I'll say it, that we're going through this mess because prior president lost the race. Those people know it. They know that this election wasn't stolen, but yet they went along with it. And now things are beginning to unfold. But what scares me about a lot of this stuff that's unfolding is Donald Trump is not stupid, because this is what got him uh, to be president of the United States. Because when he was running, if you recall, everybody thought he was a joke. Even the Republicans, they talked about him in the beginning. They didn't think Donald Trump was going to win. Donald Trump is smart. He's a master at what he does. Now, I mean, to me, just how I'm looking at it, using some common sense, Donald Trump knows that you're not supposed to take secret documents to your home. He knows that. Donald Trump knows that when he's talking about getting rid of the Constitution, he knows that's going to make front page news and people going to talk about it. You know, Donald Trump got more sense than to bring people that's talk about annihilating the Jews and have dinner with them at his table. He knows better than that. Because if you recall, Donald Trump was in Israel. I think he signed over something with but not Yahoo uh in Israel, signed over something. So, you know, I don't know what's behind all this stuff, and I don't even talk about it because I don't know anything about it. But I'm just saying Donald Trump is not this stupid. It's not. You know, just like I don't understand how can politicians that's been in office for 30 or 40 years all of a sudden, they're going to come up and say, oh, the election was stolen when they know better. The vice president did come out for an interview and said the election wasn't stolen, or he said something to that effect. So what's going on here? It's something. It's something is not being told to the American people. That's that's what I'm thinking. Because otherwise, it doesn't make sense. Because the people that actually, the Republicans, as far as I'm concerned, it's their fault over the actions of Donald Trump because they didn't reel Donald Trump in when they knew he was going rogue. Donald Trump had no political experience, none whatsoever. But he was a master at his game. So when you got somebody that has no experience in government, you're going to elect them and just let them come in and just do whatever they want to do. It's like putting a child and put him behind a 911 and put him out there on the expressway. 3-year-old, and let him go. No one's in the driver's seat to coach him or tell him what to do, even though that's 2 year old, he'd be out there anyway. But this is the analogy that I'm saying. This mess doesn't even make sense. It's a lot of stuff, people, that don't make sense. But you need to stop and start thinking about it because everything that's happening is going to affect you or it's affecting you and your children and their children. Inflation. One one month you have gas $6, $7 a gallon, right? A month and a half later, now they're talking about it might be less than $2. I mean less than $3 a gallon. Somebody's making money. And I'm not concerned with whoever's making money. But I'm just talking about the common sense part of it. Make money, making money. There's nothing I can do about it anyway. But people, all this stuff that's going on, and you falling right in line with it, as if as if you don't have an ounce of brain, as if you can't even think for yourselves. Nobody's trying to take over from what I'm seeing. I have not heard anybody, Republican, Democrat, I have not heard anybody say anything about taking weapons from anyone. Nobody. Only thing they said was background check, make sure that somebody buy weapons, make sure that they're mentally stable enough to be able to abide by the rules and regulations of owning a fire weapon, especially a military grade weapon. That's it, man. And people out here today, they're under a lot of pressure. First of all, they haven't even been taught how to deal with pressure. Who's teaching them? You set them in front of a game or television screen or video game or something. These kids, they shooting, they're playing these games, they're doing this, they're doing that. Where is the education or the knowledge as to teach these children about life and how to deal with things? Teach them that there's more than one way to deal with something. You don't just pick up a weapon or use foul language at someone because someone says something that you do not like or you do not agree with. That's fine. It's freedom of speech. What happened to sticks and stones may break your bones, but names will never hurt you. It's the truth, man. If someone isn't out here calling out uh, people to come bear arms and just start shooting and killing and doing all these horrific things, say what you want to say. It's my opinion. As long as you don't hurt anybody. But and if so, if you're saying something, if it's untrue, call the people out on it. Call them out. But I think for anybody, I don't care regardless of the color, I think for people to really just seek vengeance on someone because they say something you don't like. Me personally, I don't think that's right. Um, my opinions come from uh, my way of life and my reading of scriptures, uh, not just the not just the Bible, but the Quran and other holy books. But one thing I find that they all have in common is love and treat your fellow man right and treat people the way you want to be treated. And at the end of the day, they all speak of punishment. And I think it's foolish. I think it's foolish for anyone to think that they can do anything they want to do and harm people or the planet and not having to pay for it, whether it's in this life or the next. Because it says what we're seeing now, and going back to what I was just getting ready to say about what it says, so you sow, so shall you reap. And what we're seeing right now, what's happening in this day, in this planet, and all the things that's going on in this civilization, we did it. The people in charge were in charge. So that's where the responsibility falls. You can't put something on somebody else when you did it. And sooner or later, it comes to light. And I think this is where we are now, believe it or not. You know, a lot of times, even what I'm hearing, uh, there are people that don't want the truth being told or history being made manifest. But guess what? This is coming. This is coming from what happened. It's just like I was just saying, things that's done in the dark, sooner or later, it's going to come to the light. And things now come into the light, and we got to accept that we, as a people, are the cause of it. And we, as a people, have to change it. And because if we create a situation that certain problems arrive from it, and people do certain things trying to survive in the system that you created, and they trying to survive in it. So now who's responsible? Who's responsible? Are you going to blame the person that's trying to survive in it, even though I'm not justifying what's if that person did something that was wrong? But what if you didn't educate that person? You didn't see to it that that person or those people got a good education to steer them in a different direction when you could have and you did not, and where does the blame fall? Um, I heard the other day about uh, juvenile center uh, where they lock up kids, and they were saying that it's overcrowded. So what they're going to do is they're going to build more centers, more jails for these kids. Is that the answer? I don't think so. But apparently, people in charge think so because that's what they're doing. But what about work programs for these kids? What about some of these kids in there that shouldn't even be in there? Let them out. Test them. Give them a chance. If there hasn't been like a violent crime, and give them the mental uh, uh, treatment that they need. You don't just solve a problem by just housing more kids, locking more kids up. And this seems to be the problem. You know, at one time I thought that jails and prisons supposed to be a form of rehabilitation. If you go in, if you don't teach these people anything, if they come out, they can't survive. So guess what? They're going right back in. Just common sense. But we have failed. We have failed as a whole, as a people, as a nation, as a country. We have failed ourselves as a whole. You got people in this country making millions upon millions of dollars, and people are starving. You know, I'm not even saying, I'm not saying keep giving people something. It says if you want to help somebody, teach them how to fish. Let them feed themselves. Let them teach them so they can build and maintain housing for themselves. Still can own the rich. Still can own everything. Anybody talking about taking anything from the rich because guess what? They own everything anyway. We just talking about surviving and cleaning up this country. And if we don't do it, it's not going to get done. And we got to get back to basics. We have to start doing things and stop talking about it. Every time I turn around, I'm hearing people, oh, we're talking, we're doing this. We're doing this. We got this program. We're doing this. We're doing this. We're doing this. But guess what? To me, I'm not in the depths of it. I'm just going by what I'm seeing. This country, we in worse shape now than we have ever been. So where's all the money? Where's all the help these people supposed to be getting? They're not getting it. And that's why we're having the type of civilization that we're having. That's why we have the ghettos. That's why we have now, I call myself the poor, the low income, and the middle class, one and two, with three dropping drastically because the middle class is no longer the middle class anymore. Don't tell me about all this inflation and people and these people in charge making record profits. The inflation is only for the poor. I keep saying that. But people can't seem to realize they're gonna wake up one day and you know what? You're gonna be buying your drinking water out of a gas station. If you don't really start paying attention to what's happening. Food prices is getting sky high. They are. We have to eat. You have to drink water. You have to have fuel to heat in the wintertime because the winters is going to get colder. Just as it's summer, it's getting hotter, the winters are going to get colder. And you know what? I heard yesterday Tesla, Elon Musk is coming out with electric trucks that drive themselves. You understand? That's going to eliminate. It's going to eliminate these strikes. Coming out with robotics, man. Robotics is replacing humans. They talk about all these jobs this and jobs that. I don't know. I mean, I'm hearing it, but at the same time, it's what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, what I'm reading, not adding up. It's not. If you're not educated, forget about it. Forget about it. I went in a I went in a store today, a huge store that sells all to everything, one stop shopping, and looked like to me 2/3 of the cashiers were gone. Self checkout. A lot of places self checkout. So all these people don't want to come to work. They say, well, you don't want to come to work. But guess what? These business owners saying, well, you know what? If you don't want to come to work, we can find a way to replace you. So when them bills start hitting you and you don't have any money and you get ready to go to work, there's gonna be no job for you. There's gonna be no job for you. And I know a lot of things is happening online, but a lot of this stuff's gonna slow down. It's gonna slow down because we get ready to hit a major transition, and it's going to affect us people. And it's time to start realizing this is not a game. It's not a joke. This is serious. That's why if you notice, a lot of people will tell you um, they don't believe in God, but everything is going good for them. They don't even think about that. Oh, you believe in God? No, there's no God. They'll tell you that. Well, let them have an accident. Let them be in an accident where it's life threatening. They only survived by just a hair. First thing they come out with, thank God. Then that haul for God. Oh God, help me, God. Thank you. But you see, and this is what it is with life. It's the same way. You thinking everything is okay, it's going to be this way. But when it changes up this time, it's not going to be any help for you. It's not going to be any help for you. There was a joke. It's not a joke, but it was a man that was the way it was told to me. I may not have it exactly right, but I think I can get the point of what I'm trying to say. There was a man in a accident, okay? And he was in his accident. He was praying, God, God, please help me. Please help me. I need help, but very bad. So while he was praying, man came by with a camel. I think he was in the desert. So man came by with a camel, and he asked the man that was uh, in need of help. He said, "Can I help you, sir?" So the man told him. He said, "Well, I appreciate it." He said, "But no, thank you." He said, "I'm waiting on God." So another man came by. This time, maybe it could have been a car, a Jeep, or something. The same thing. He told him, man, said, "Sir, can I help you?" He said, "No." He said, "I really appreciate it." He said, "But I'm waiting on God." So another man came by with the same thing. He said, he must have been flying on a plane or a bicycle or something, and asked him, could he help him? He said, "No, I'm waiting on God." So, man, after a while, the man stopped and he prayed. He prayed to God. He said, "God," he said, "I've been praying and praying to you for help." He said, "Please help me." God said, "I sent 3 people your way and you turned them down." So people, when you see things and people telling you things, if you don't at least check it out and do something for yourself, you're gonna suffer the consequences. And these consequences that we're looking at now is very, very, very dire, because I was in the supermarkets, all the shelves are half empty. Shelves are half empty. We talk about, changing in 2035 electric cars. Well, what about the cars that's run on gasoline? They're gonna they're gonna stop making them in 2035. What are all the people gonna do that owns them? What are people gonna do that fix them when you're gonna be replaced with electrical cars? People that can barely pay their electric bill now, how are they gonna pay for the electric bill to charge the cars and and the electric on the house, which already probably is gonna be triple. So it's a lot to it's a lot to consider. It's a lot to think about. And then the Republicans, getting back, it's hard to get away from these Republicans, because the stuff that's being done is unbelievable. Joe Biden and Joe Biden wanted to eliminate some of the debt for these kids to graduate from college with so much debt on them. And Joe Biden was trying to eliminate the debt, and the Republicans didn't want it. He said no. So Joe Biden, they had the right to do that. What do the Republicans have to gain by not wanting the students to get rid of or have some kind of ease on their student loan, their student debt? What is it? Why not? You can't be talking about money, because from what I heard, this country is in $30 trillion in debt. 30 trillion. That's what they say. And you're going to tell me you're going to worry about a little bit of loan that's trying to help trying to help these students at least get a leg up. And the money, regardless, all the money is coming right back into the neighborhood, right back into the country anyway. Nobody's taking money out of this country. It's just moving it around. I don't understand this. But people are not saying anything. You know? It doesn't interfere with me to talk about it. If he does it, if he doesn't affect me either way. But people, you have got to get off your seat and you've got to start paying attention. You've got to start voicing your opinion. You've got to start holding these Republicans and Democrats, politicians, accountable. If they say something when they're running for office, get a tape recorder or something. Tape it. Tape what they say. And guess what? If they found out that they're lying, they're being a hypocrite, well, then guess what? They need to go. They need to go. And it's only right. It's only right that if you're gonna run for office on a certain platform of things that you're gonna do, or at least attempt to do, and you get in office and you have uh, 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 no idea of no intention of doing these things. You're just merely saying what people want you to hear, what you know people want to hear, so you can get elected. No, no. So people, you let people treat you how you're treated, and that's just the bottom line. You know, uh, divide and conquer. You know, I mean, they're bad times. Slavery, people, all different nationalities of people that's been through something and they go through it. But you know what? At the end of the day, nobody's in it better than anybody else. Just because your skin color is different, you think you're better? That's insane. Just think about that for a second. Just think about it. I'm not even trying to tell you, just think about it. You know, we're all people. I don't care what color you take, your color, my color, everybody else's color, and put them inside of a burning house. And guess what? If you don't get your behind out of there, I don't care what color you are, you're gonna burn. You understand? If your ass is in a war and you're being shot at, and you want somebody, are you gonna sit there and, well, no, because you're a certain color? No, I don't want you to protect me. Huh? Think about it. You think about that. You're in a foxhole in a war somewhere. You're gonna holler, no, don't come in here because you're a certain color. I don't want you to come in. I don't want you to protect me. No, you can't. If I'm shot, no, don't pick me up and take me over there because you're the wrong color. What kind of stupid mess is that? You're just as stupid as can be. We was taken advantage of. We was taken advantage of. We was brought here because before we was taken advantage of, you was taken advantage of. This is 2022. And right now, this country's in worse shape than it's ever been. Now, who's to blame for that? Who's to blame for all this killing and stuff that's going on in schools, churches, and homes? I heard the news the other day somebody got stabbed, and it's insane. We are human beings. We are supposed to be of super intelligence. This is crazy. The actions are crazy. How anybody, I don't care who you are, how anybody could take a human life unless that individual was threatening your life and you did it in self defense. Other than that, you have got to be one sick individual to want to take somebody's life for something. But just because you feel like you're better, you can do that. It's absurd. It's really hard. Sometimes if I see a bug on the floor or somewhere, if it's outside, I'll let him go. But if it's in my house, if I can't, know where to pick him up and put him outside or something, but 9 times out of 10, I hate to do it, but if I kill him, I'll say to myself, that is the fate of that roach, because that roach want to live. Have you ever noticed that? Anything that you try and kill, any animal, any bug, any insect that you try and kill, they run for their life. I don't know not one that will just come up to you and lay down for you to kill. Life means something, even the bugs. So what gives us the right to think that we can just take somebody's life? Pass judgment on somebody until we sit back and say, well, what was the cause? What was this person's life like? Why is this person doing this? You know, I get in a lot of arguments when they start talking about children, because I say it's enough blame to go around. You just can't take a child and treat a child as an adult. He's a child. Where'd that child get that from? He wasn't born with it, even though through some of my experiments and things I've seen, a DNA, say for example, uh, your grandfather, your grandmother, or whatever, if they was a certain way or was thinking a certain way, that DNA can pass down to your children, and that's a fact. That's why in the Bible it said your children should pay for what your mothers and fathers did. So it also in your DNA, along with how they're being taught, how they see what you do. You understand? And that's what determined the things they do that we call, oh, they just bad. No, uh-uh. It's a reason for everything. It's a reason. We're too quick to pick up and label what other people do. But yet, when you do the same thing, or your children do the same thing, oh, it's different. That's not how it goes. But that's why the world is like it is. The world is wishy-washy because the people are wishy-washy. And it's time for things to change. It's time to bring back simplicity. It's time. We've gotten too far away from it. Our values are way, way off track. And it's just until people at the top turn loose some of this money that they get from people on the bottom. That's another thing that boggles my mind. These people who come out of your same neighborhood, you support them, okay? They get rich. Now they're too good for you. They don't come back in your neighborhood and see a neighborhood where it was all houses all torn down and uh, children need help, need schools. And they don't come back into those stuff like that. That they own. When nobody said give anybody anything, but do something to help people. You was helped. You was helped. And then also, either you wasn't helped. There are those that when the wars, when the poor and the middle class 1 and 2 was out there fighting wars, and you was home in school, getting educated, making money, getting ahead, and then when the veterans come home, they treated almost as bad as criminals with nothing. And then you got to sit here and argue and pass bills for veterans to get something. A veteran should never have to pay a bill, a mortgage, or anything in their families for the rest of their lives because they made the ultimate sacrifice while other people's back here partying, having a good time, making money. Not right. Then you gonna tell me they got, oh well, we don't know about that. We got to pass this bill and we got to do that. You ain't been to war. You don't live in no ghetto, but yet you can sit there and tell what people in the ghetto need. How is that possible? And all the money that you give the people in the ghetto, the veterans, and everybody else, you know what they do? They spend it right back in the economy. Stimulus money is what it's called. People ain't taking money out of the country like the rich. You know, pay taxes. Rich got so many loopholes they don't have to pay taxes. But that's who cares about that? Let people live. Let people live. Let's clean this planet up. Clean it up. And all this rent. But I knew that I heard something about the mortgages and stuff. People don't stop selling their houses, the mortgage, stop renting. Because you know what? These renters that went stock raving mad with these rent prices. I got all this money to be paying 14, 15, 2,000, $3,000 a month rent. You know what? The apartment's gonna stay, you're gonna sleep in them yourself. But guess what? People gonna move back home and they're gonna stop spending all this money. It doesn't make sense. People want to charge $600, $700 a month for a room. That's a mortgage payment. People are being used and abused, and you need to wake up to it. And the people at the top need to wake up to how the low income, middle class, 1 and 2, how these people are being treated, and help them. Help these people. These business people need to stop robbing them, charge them all this money for nothing. Went to breakfast the other day. A friend of mine treated me to breakfast the other day. We went to breakfast, and guess what? A couple of eggs and some toasted potatoes. I'm like, over $50. Now give me a break. You know what I'm saying? People ain't trying to pay all your bills for you in 1 month. You can make money. You got to get rich overnight. Let people live because the money, what you're doing is you're making it with the price of the uh, your rental, your real estate, your mortgage, and your rent, and the winter's coming with your heat, your food, and you're charging all this. People are not going to have the money. They're not going to have the money for these business people. They're not. And the middle class, so-called middle class, is going to feel the pain because the rich are not going to feel it because they have money. They can spend it. They can buy whatever they want to buy. Okay. And the poor people, you're going to have to cater to them because they don't have a lot of money to spend. And that's it. And that's why, because they're people shooting themselves in the foot with these high prices. And what else can we talk about? Let's see. I talked about the 30 trillion in debt. That's a lot of debt. But I'm trying to figure out how can you be 30 trillion. Well, I'm not going to get into the debt, but it's just that if the economy isn't based on anything, we're not on any gold or silver standards. So what's hold? I guess the security of country, like America, people would invest in. So I guess that's what's holding that 30 trillion up. Um, what else? What else? What else? What else? Justice, the law. I think it's an injustice to poor people, all colors, that just because you don't have money, you don't get the same quality of justice that a man with money has. Now, yeah, I find something wrong with that. I find something is wrong with that. You should be able to get the same justice. Just because you have a lawyer, you can afford a lawyer, and we commit the same crime, you can get off and I get 20 years in prison. Think about that. That's messed up. That's messed up. Because it should not fall under the lawyer. It should fall under the justice, the principles of that justice, the principles under which that crime which you committed, regardless of who you are, regardless of how much money you have. But I think that comes with a capitalistic system, because the capitalistic system is all about money. That's why we don't have the same car. You got so many different cars, all about selling, making money, money, money. But at some point, you find yourself uh, running out, because it's not right. It's not right, and putting the wrong person in jail, you know, uh, that person can't go back and get that. It's not even enough money you can give him to go back and get that. That's life. You know? So more attention, more attention should be paid to criminals or people that's suspected of being a criminal. We just can't uh, throw them in jail, get about them, which I think America, from what I'm hearing, this country has over 2 million people incarcerated. That's a lot of people behind bars, people. And yet, the jail should not be a privately owned institution where people make money off of locking people up. That's not right. That's a conflict of interest right there. I'm not even a lawyer. Conflict of interest. How you gonna get paid for locking people up? Nobody say anything about that. You know, uh, and real estate taxes. You got these developers coming into your neighborhood now. Just think about this for a second. Here's a developer coming into your neighborhood, okay? Because your neighborhood is in a good location, it's by transportation, and it's close to the city and close to supermarkets and hospitals and all that stuff. Now developers want to come in, they see a vacant lot, they want vacant lots in your neighborhood, they come in, they want to develop these lots and build these high rises. Okay, so now the property in that neighborhood is going up because these developers come in your neighborhood because they want to make money. Okay, your property value go up. So now you are on a fixed income because these people come in your neighborhood. Now your property taxes is going up. Is that right? And then if you don't have money to pay your property taxes, guess what? Your properties go up for sheriff's sale, and these same developers come in and buy your property. Now they got that. Think about it, people. That is not fair. Your taxes should be based on your income. It shouldn't go up. If people come in and build 2 twin towers in your neighborhood, your property value shouldn't go up for you. It can go up for the guy who owns the twin towers. That shouldn't affect you, not your taxes. Do you hear any of these people that's running for office every so often that's coming out talking about, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna stop the crime, we're gonna do this. Same mess for the last 40 years. That's all they talk about. But the important things, they don't say a word about them. And guess what? The people don't say anything about it. Nothing. They get away with it. Parking authority. Not even in this city. That the people in the city has no control of can come along, take your car and sell it. That car could be to being your life support. They should not be able to do that. There should be some kind of way they can figure this thing out to get money or to get paid other than take your vehicle when your car is you need that for work. If they're gonna boot it, if you prove to them that you need this vehicle for your work, for your job, to go back and forth, take your kids to the daycare, to do whatever you do in order, it's a main part of your survival, that car should not be touched. Now, I ain't saying you can't boot no car, but that car should not be touched. Before they come and boot somebody's car, then they got to go through something. Instead of you having to go through something, the parking authority got to go through something and prove that you don't need that car. If you they got to prove if you don't need that car, okay? If you don't need that car for your survival, boot it, okay? But if you need that car for your survival, no, don't touch that. That should be unconstitutional. Well, guess what? Nobody don't do anything. Nobody don't do anything. I had years this happened to me about 3 or 4 years ago. I had a classic car, and classic car. It was a Corvette, classic Corvette. And I come home one day and a boot was on my car. I freaked out. I had no tickets on it, and a boot was on it. And when I called the parking authority, I got three different amounts of money that was owed on the car. That I owed, not on the car that I owed. Come to find out, to get to the meat of it, they told me that they went back 45 years and said I owed $10,000 in tickets. The first time they told me I owed, they said it was, I think, 2,000 or 3,000, something like that. But then they went from that to $10,000. They said I owed from 45 years ago, and there was no tickets on that car. Okay. I called the parking authority. I talked to the head of the parking authority in Philadelphia. He told me that there's nothing nobody can do. Parking authority comes out of Harrisburg. Nobody can do anything about the parking authority in the city of Philadelphia. I got up every morning, went down in front of 9:30, went down and picketed every morning. Got 250 signatures and went to city council, talked to city council. Nobody could do anything. What they did do, they, from what I understand, and other people was going through the same thing. But while I'm down there, I'm witnessing people taking their cars. They said they're coming in their backyard taking their cars, selling stuff. People crying. Women were down there with the babies. So from that, and other people was protesting too, not with me. Because when I was down there every morning by myself for a month. I got 250 signatures. But I didn't get my car back. And they didn't even want to tell me how much they sold my car for. But somebody in the parking lot got there because you don't sell that car for $2,400. That's what they sold it for. Yeah, yeah. That should not be right. $2,400 they sold my car. But at least I think what happened, they came up with an amnesty program or something, but that's enough. That's here, not there. And then on top of that, you hear a month or two later, oh, some top executive embezzled millions of dollars or something like that. I said, oh, you know, people, you got to get involved. You cannot just sit back and accept everything because these people don't care. It's obvious they don't care anything about it. It's obvious. But together, you can do something. You can do something. These schools, it's a disgrace. Disgrace. Why can't we have top-notch schools for everybody? The latest equipment for everybody, all these schools. And then when you got football players can get money for welfare and build stadiums for sports. Tell me, people don't have money to build new schools, modern, up-to-date schools. Some of these schools, you wouldn't even know they're schools unless you walked into them. They look so bad from the outside. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, people. All this money, but yet we don't do anything for ourselves. And it's no point, you get tired of talking. Um, because if pretty soon it won't be anything to talk about. Planet, the poles are melting like crazy, the sea level is rising. You're gonna wake up one day and New York will be underwater. Telling you. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make none of this stuff. None of it makes any sense at all when this is our home. This is our home. We all live here. Why can't we live in peace? Why can't we respect one another? Why can't we start trying to clean up these neighborhoods? Tear down these buildings. You can tear them down and build some new stuff for these developers. Tear them down and build some new stuff for the people that's living in the neighborhoods. And teach them. Teach them how to maintain. Put these kids to work. Give them something to do instead of just hanging on the corners. They'll work. Show them how to make stuff and start a business, a trade. Clean the neighborhoods up where you can sit outside in the summertime on tables and feel safe and eat some good food and have a glass of wine. And I mean, just live. Make this planet a vacation. Work. You don't have to be struggling. People shouldn't have to work 2 or 3 jobs just to eat and pay a bill. Now, when you got somebody on top of the hill with billions, 100 billion, 200 billion, trillions of dollars. Now, it's insane. This is an insane asylum. That's what it is. It's an insane asylum. And we see people doing insane things. Think about it, using common sense. It's crazy. It's really, really crazy. But uh, I still can't wrap my head around Trump because I don't think Trump ain't that stupid. I mean, he do some dumb stuff. Trump ain't that stupid because people thought he was stupid before, and he wound up president of the United States. I don't think he's gonna be president of the United States. I don't think so, and I don't even think I don't even think he think he's gonna be president of the United States. But there could be something. There's another agenda I think that's cooking that we're not aware of. that we will be made aware of soon. Because there's too much going on. But this is the only life that we have. This is the only planet that we have. And we need to show love to ourselves and we need to show love to others. And you need to value your life because this is all you have. You look at this body that you have as your ship to get you through this point in time in this physical existence that we're in. But this is not the end. This is not the end. You know, this is the beginning. This is the beginning, people. And once you realize that, and that you need this body to get you through where you need to go, you know what? It's like a boat going out in the sea, and it's possibility of storms, and you got whales, all kinds of stuff out there, the unknown out there. People, you don't want to go out there in a boat that's not equipped. You don't want to go out there, people, with a boat that's not strong enough to withstand the waves and whatever else come to you. You don't want to do that. That's sudden death. And that's what you're doing to your body. This body is your ship. And this earth is your seed that you need to get you through. Do you understand? The brain has given you, your brain and your mind has given you unknowingly the power to adapt. That's what you have with this body. This body has given you your brain and the creator has given you everything you need to get through this. You need to see, eyes. You need to feed yourself to eat, you have a mouth. You need teeth in case you got to chew some heavy, hard stuff. Guess what? You got it. Do you know you can take a piece of rock candy and you can put that in your hand and press for the next 100 years and you will not crush it. But you put that candy in your mouth and bite down on it, bam, you crush it. That's the power that you have just in your jaws. Power, people. Your skin. Cut yourself. You can heal yourself. You see people jumping off mountains, diving in waters and swimming. Everything you see, we make it. It's come from within the mind of man. That's just on a physical level. But now you take it beyond that, you start talking about the atoms that we are composed of. An atom is an atom. I'm talking about atoms and these atomic generators. Atom that has so much energy in it, it can demolish huge buildings, just one of them. That's what we're made of. And it's time to get in sync. It's time to start focusing where you need to put your focus on, but you need your body. You need to eat right. But guess what? Nobody cares about that. All they care about is money. That's why they give you all this stuff that's, excuse me, give you all this stuff that's not beneficial for you. Right. Why do you think you get cancer? Where do you think cancer comes from? A whole lot of junk stuff that you put in your body. That's where it comes from. Everything comes from all this junk that you be putting in your body. Sugar upon sugar upon sugar, chemicals upon chemicals upon chemicals, and this and that. You don't know how much flour, you don't know how much this and all this stuff you put in your body, and you still live to be 70, 80, 90 years old, and 100 sometimes. And you put all this crap in you. And you thinking with crap. And I'm telling you, it's not even talked about, but I'm going to tell you, sex is one of the worst things in the world. It's one of the worst things in the world, especially for man. That's why women outlive men. You understand? The sperm is the vital fluid of your nervous system. Think about that now. The sperm is the vital fluid of your nervous system. I haven't told you that before, have they? It's not good for you. But guess what? Everything is sold behind sex, man. They sell cars, clothes, food, uh, makeup, everything. Everything. Sex sells, man. And it also kills. Hercules, Delilah said, Hercules, Delilah cut his hair and Hercules lost his strength. Hair represents vitality, people. And through the sex act, Hercules lost his strength and became weak. People know it, they don't talk about it. Think about that. You understand? They'll tell you right now, if you get ready to get out there in that field and football and boxing and all this heavy stuff, heavy lifting and stuff, don't be messing with no sex the night before. Maybe they ain't tell you a month before. Right? Everything that's good to you is not good for you. And mostly all other animals, a certain time to mate. Don't go ahead and just have sex all the time, 2 or 3 times a day, sometimes 4 times a day. Party all week long. Mm-mm. Do it. That don't make it right. The purpose of sex is to have children. Sex and children is an expression of love between two people. It's a manifestation of love between two people. It's supposed to be. But like I said, everything, everything that happens to us is our fault, people. And you've got to start living a real life. Otherwise, we don't even know how much longer we have to live with this planet. Because I be hearing some stuff. By the time we get 26, it'll be done. And it could very well, excuse me, it could very well be. It could very well be. And we need to start working on relationships and love and treating people right and respecting people, man. Working together. Two can live much better than one. But you have to live together, trust one another, work together. Just because it doesn't matter who has more, doesn't even matter. All supposed to go in the party anyway. So what? Doesn't even matter at the end of the day. It really doesn't. But we've gotten to the point where those things matter and it shouldn't. And it's destroyed relationships and people and continue to do so. But hopefully, hopefully, we can get things together. We can try and make this world a better place. But it's not going to happen unless we do it and respect each other. Because there's no idea that what color you are. Nobody's better than anybody. But you better keep your eye on the prize because when things get tight as they are, you know, birds of a feather flock together. So people of nationalities, they pull their resources together as a people, as a huge family for themselves. And this may not have anything to do with racism. It's just looking out for yourselves. And if you don't have anything, if there's a famine, and if you haven't been putting your stuff together, and I have been, and Joe over here has been, and Sally over here have been, I'm not gonna give you what I got. I might give you a slice or two just to help you out, but then I don't even know if I'll do that because it's about survival. You should have been doing the same thing. I know it may be harder for you to do it, but that doesn't mean it cannot be done. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of black millionaires or Asian millionaires or Spanish millionaires. These people are working together. And it seems to me everybody's working together but us. And if a famine hit, you're not gonna have anything. And that's where you really gonna see the guns come out. You see, because they're going to have to protect what they have. It's a reality. It's common sense. And we have to get some common sense and start using some common sense. And let's stop the bullshit and let's just start working together and making this world a better place. And we can. We can save it. We can save it. As long as you're alive, I've always said this to myself. As long as I'm alive, you have a chance. You can get better. You don't have to stop. And nothing has to continue going in a certain way. You can stop it as long as you're alive and have faith in it and believe it. You can do it. We can do it. So on that note, man, I hope I didn't run too much. But you know what? I get to talking sometime and I just go on and on and on because there's just so much to talk about. And it's like I was like, a lot of this stuff we should just know. We shouldn't even be going through a lot of this, man. And there needs to be transparency on these people that's supposed to be running this country. If they're not doing it, then guess what? You're not doing your job. If you don't do your job, what happens? Okay, so I don't have to say no more.